Hope everybody's doing great today. My name is Federico Hernandez, and welcome to Savvy Network. I'm very excited to be here. This is going to be a really good live stream today, educational live stream. We got two guys that speak Spanish. Well, I'm leaving soon, so it just will be one guy speaking Spanish, one British guy, one beautiful American English girl. Not English, American girl. All right. Anyway, really quickly before I go on, let me go over today's tools. We have our chat box. We see a lot of people participating. If you've not been here before, let us know which city, country you're participating from. During the event, if you have any questions, there's a Q&A at the very end. So make sure to use the ask questions right in the bottom area. We kindly ask everybody to share the event. Let's invite people. For those of you guys that are seeing us right now on Facebook, come on to savvy.co, which is zavvy.co. So that way you can participate directly with our hosts and guests. Today's agenda is going to be around 30-40 minutes. I don't know about that. Our guest basically brought like 50 slides. I'm like, dude, you gotta make that shorter. He's like, nah, easy. About 30-40 minutes of the main presentation and 15-20 minutes of our Tiki O'Clock Q&A. All right, let the show begin. I'll step out. I'll leave you guys in good hands.
Bye-bye, Fede. You're great as usual. Hey, guys. Welcome to Let's Get Tropical. My name is Georgie Radev. I am founder of one really cool tiki bar in London called Lucky Cane. And I'm so happy today that we've got this guy right there, Oriol, which is a very, very good friend of mine. He loves tiki. He loves tiki cocktails. He travels around the world teaching people about tiki. He's like the tiki priest, going and giving that tiki love. Everyone in Spain loves him. Everyone that speaks Spanish listens to him all the time. I've tried to do that, but unfortunately I don't speak Spanish, so I couldn't hear these master classes. But I'm so happy that you are here and you're going to teach us all about cocktails. And we've got this beautiful lady on the left as well that she's going to introduce herself now.
Hi guys, Jupiter here. I am very excited to be with these wonderful boys, men, whatever you want to call them, depending on the day. We are coming live to you, of course, from Zavvy as well as YouTube. So if you guys have any questions or comments, or if you're watching us on Facebook, we won't be able to see them on Facebook. So we definitely invite you to join us on zavvy.co. We have a chat box down below as well as the Ask the Questions. If you ask a question, it will be queued, in which we will address all of those at the ending. So without further ado, of course, we have Mr. Oriol with us. He is a fantastic guest. Many of us have worked with him and seen him around the world, so it's always great to see him. And of course, because we are streaming, there may be a delay that you are experiencing, but that's just kind of a natural thing that happens. So we will try and get to your questions and everything like that in time. So without further ado, I pass it on to Oriol.
Oriol, it's your turn, my friend.
Connecting problems.
He's experiencing connecting issues, which we've had all day, unfortunately. Are you
Man,
there?
everything is blown here. I can hear you.
That's because you're in Spain.
I can hear you. Everything is blown right now.
It's okay. You can go for it.
Aloha. Aloha to everybody. My Wi-Fi connection, Wi-Fi connection is a bit right now. And guys, I can hear you. I can hear you more or less, but it's my pleasure to be part of Let's Get Tropical channel tonight with you, and that so many months without speaking English, and it's my pleasure that you give me that opportunity to explain a bit about my way to explain tiki cocktails, because a lot of people can teach others about tiki cocktails, but it will be on my way. And I'm happy to be here. I saw that some friends are connecting, like Brother Cliff, Scott Friends. I know that Mary King will be here and other people. And I only want to say hi to all of them, also to the people that I never meet, but it's a pleasure to be here. So, if you prefer, I can speak in Spanish.
I love hearing you speaking in Spanish, but I won't understand anything.
Man.
Just pictures. That's nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I fully agree with you, my friend.
Georgie, I cannot hear you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh shit.
Do you want to jump? Oriol, can you hear me? Do you want to jump and try and you can reload?
Oriol, do you hear me now?
I can't hear you properly. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Now, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good. I mean, you can start if you want with your presentation, Oriol, because everyone else is hearing you, and then hopefully later on you hear us better, and we can have some questions. Is that okay?
Okay. If everybody is hearing me well and you can see me well, it's okay. But Georgie, it was all your voice good at the time. Then I can start by here and try if later the connection will be better. Okay. Tonight my masterclass will be a bit masterclass speech. I'm gonna talk a lot. It's what I call the craft of tiki cocktails, because it's a kind of introduction about tiki cocktails, understand what a tiki cocktail is, and then give some of my tips and tricks to prepare tiki cocktails. If you go to the next slide, we could see that for me, the most important thing is understand what's tiki inside the cocktail world. Okay, because at least I know that in the United States is something more common, understanding what a tiki cocktail is, but in Spain or some parts of Europe, the people doesn't have really idea about what is a tiki cocktail. In Spain, for example, we have a culture that comes from the 70s about the Hawaiian and Polynesian bars. Then we have amazing bars from the 70s, the old ones. In Barcelona, for example, we have 3. We have Aloha, Kahala, and Kahiki from 71, 76, and 77, that are beautiful spaces with a beautiful decor, but all the cocktails served in Spanish tiki max, like this one. But the cocktails are bullshit. Okay, it was crappy cocktails. And in Spain, for example, the people think that a tiki cocktail is this: a sweet cocktail, a cocktail with milk, a cocktail with whatever inside, all mixed in the same blender without cleaning that. And for the people, tiki is the Hawaiian cocktail, the Polynesian cocktail, but they don't know more than this. They think that tiki cocktail is a sweet cocktail, a cocktail with low quality spirits, a cocktail inside a tiki mac, a cocktail with an umbrella, a cocktail with a smoke. Lots of smoke, because in Spain it's very difficult to use lots of dry ice for garnish. And but the people doesn't know what's a tiki cocktail. Okay, and then the first thing that I love to explain to people is that a tiki cocktail can have influence about Hawaiian, Polynesian cultures, and also the names of the cocktails sometimes came of the legends of that mythologies of these countries and the traditions. But really, a tiki cocktail has nothing related to Hawaii or with Polynesia. Tiki cocktails are invented in the United States in the 30s. And I always tell that as everything in the life are invented by Americans, tiki cocktails born with the need of evasion. It was a social, economical, historical movement in the United States that the people has problems and the people needs to evade from reality. And then Tiki Bar is the place where you can go, have a drink, and feel that you are in a relaxed beach with a wahine like the one in the slide, bringing you a cocktail served inside a coconut with some smoke, with a tropical flavor, with strong rums on it. And it didn't give you the chance to think about if you can pay your mortgage, if your boss wants to fire you, if your wife wants to divorce from you. And it's the moment that you are thinking that you live in paradise. That's Tiki. all the people explain that a tiki cocktail is paradise inside a glass. And also phrases have sense like tiki is about escapism, or tiki is about the cult of evasion. And everything related to a tiki cocktail is evasion. Then the tiki cocktail is only the 50% of the experience. The other part of the experience is the decoration, is the service, is the history. It's all that goes around on the tiki cocktail, and you are paying for the experience, not for the cocktail. Then the other point that I want to talk here is that about the people has mess in the mind between tropical cocktails and tiki cocktails, because some tropical cocktails appears on tiki menus, but really a tiki cocktail, if we go to the most purest part of the concept, it's a tiki cocktail is a cocktail created inside a tiki bar, and a tiki bar is a bar that has tikis inside and has a determined decor inside. Then, in some of these menu appears cocktail like Suffering Bastard, Painkiller, Singapore Sling, Pina Colada, and these are tropical cocktails. But because a simple reason, if you think on Singapore Sling, you can feel it's not a tiki cocktail, because the first thing that I told you is tiki cocktails are was created on the 30s in the United States. And for example, Singapore Sling was created in 1915 in the Hotel Raffles from Singapore. We are talking about 15 years before tiki was born, well, 18 years. And in another part of the world, it's Singapore. It's not, it's Asia. It's not United States. Could be a pre-tiki cocktail. Also, Pina Colada in Puerto Rico. It's a cocktail from the 1954, made with Ramon Monchito Marrero in the Caribe Hilton. And this cocktail arrives to the United States in the boom of that drink on the 70s. And on the 70s, the tiki was in decadence. And I always recommend the people that, okay, a tiki cocktail is a part of the tropical cocktails. Yes, tiki cocktails are a part of the tropical cocktails, but tropical cocktails are bigger. All the tiki cocktails could be tropical, but not all the tropicals could be tiki. And I always recommend the people to think about the origin of the cocktail, and then the origin of the cocktail will explain what that cocktail is. If we go to next slide, okay. I love to make this because for me, that slide, it's to explain tiki history in 2 minutes. Okay, it's very easy. It's very visual because there is some important eras in tiki. We have the birth of tiki in 2 parts. We have on the 30s, we have the Don the Beachcomber. It was the real creator of the concept and the tiki cocktail, the Rum Rhapsody, exotic cocktails. And in the 40s appears another of the fathers of tiki, it's Trader Vic, that he's not the real creator, but he was the one that make a good business about tiki. Then after Second World War, 50s, 60s, golden era was the expansion of tiki in United States. Here I always symbolize that with the image of Stephen Crane. But there is other people in that important bartenders like Ray Buchen or Mariano Ricudine from Tiki Tea and Maikai. And after that, after the boom, the decadence with the Vietnam War arrives, and also the culture of disco arrives, it was the fall of tiki in the 70s, 80s. It was the decadence. But for me, it was not only the decadence on tiki cocktails, it was the decadence on the cocktails in general. After that, always the popular culture recycles over itself. And at the end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s, some people start doing things. People like Otto von Stroheim, people like Bosco Hernack, people like Sven Kirsten. But these people was called Tiki revivalists. It's the people that were making the Tiki revival, recovering all the lost things and bring it at the point that they have to stay at the level, at the good level. And for me, on the Tiki revival on cocktails, the most important person is Jeff Beachbomberry, the one that through his books recover all the lost recipes, all the lost ingredients, and bring it to us. And after that, also the best moment, I think it was Sipping Safari, creates a kind of revival on Tiki, and all the bars started making the creations of Sipping Safari and his menus. And after that, I think it was like 2005, 2010, depending. More or less, it was the creation of the modern tiki. And for me, in United States, somebody important that is behind a lot of the best modern bars is Martin Cage. Of course, there is a lot of people in the modern tiki part in Europe, like Georgie or in United States. But for me, the most important it's Martin Cage, because he's behind lots of very good projects, and also he makes an amazing book where you can learn a lot of tiki. I love to explain that part very easy, because I always recommend the people to read the books of Jeff and the book of Martin and learn about that history on the books. Okay, of course, if I have 8 hours to explain that, I can explain everything. But when I have 30, 40 minutes, I go easy on that part. If we go to the next slide, I'm going to go a pass before the tiki begins, to the origin, to the traditional Caribbean cocktails. Is that the thing that I called pre-tiki, because it was the source from where the tiki grows. And for me, the most important part is to understand that the traditional Caribbean cocktails are made with 3 ingredients: rum, lime, and sugar. And I always tell, if I explain that to my mother, I can show her a variety of cocktails. For example, I could explain her, okay, if we go to Cuba, what's the cocktail with rum, lime, and sugar? The traditional cocktail. It was the daiquiri, Cuban rum, lime, and sugar. If we go to Martinique, the traditional cocktail is tipanch, is Martinique rum, lime, and sugar. If we go to Jamaica, the planter's punch, it's Jamaican rum, lime, sugar. If you want, you can also put some angostura on it, but some bitters. But it's basically rum, lime, and sugar. And my mother, the first thing that she's going to tell is that, okay, they are smart. They make the same cocktail, but they change the name and they have a new one. And I always tell her, no, they don't change the name. They change the rum. And the point is that every country make different rums, because they use different raw materials and with different fermentations, different distillation process, different aging processes. And at last, every single rum is dramatically different from Cuba to Jamaica to Martinique. Also, if we make a blind tasting of 3 glasses with white rums, Cuba, Martinique, and Jamaica, the color is the same, the appearance is the same. But when we smell that, when we taste that, are totally different between them. And if you use this on the same pattern of cocktail, you change the cocktail. That's the point where the tiki starts. It's the understanding of the difference on rum. If we go to the next slide, we can find the definition of the tiki cocktail. And the definition of the tiki cocktail, for me, okay, it's nice, the thing that I told you before, that okay, a tiki cocktail is a cocktail made inside a tiki bar with a role in the immersive Polynesian space. But for me, a tiki cocktail has a structure, and it's very important to have this structure. And this definition of tiki cocktail for me is the best one. It's the one made by Don David Schomburg, the creator of that concept. And in this phrase, he explains everything. And this phrase is an elaboration of the traditional planter's punch formula, balancing sour, sweet, strong, weak, and spice components. At this point, he's explaining that the recipe is an elaboration of a traditional cocktail, recipe of a cocktail that is the planter's punch, because Don David Schomburg was focused and falls in love on his travels when he was young to Jamaica with the planter's punch. And the traditional recipe for the planter's punch was 1 of sour, 2 of sweet, 3 of strong, 4 of weak. And he takes all these components, sour, sweet, strong, weak, and adds the spice. 5 components, okay, is the things that a tiki cocktail needs. But the most important phrase here, word in that phrase, sorry, it's balancing. Because a tiki cocktail, if it's something balanced. Then when somebody come to me and tell me, oh, I don't like tiki cocktails because are too sweet. No, man, you are drinking a shitty cocktail, not a tiki cocktail. Because a tiki cocktail needs to be balanced. It needs to have sour, point of sweet, rum, some dilution that it's neat, and spices, okay? If we go to the next slide, I'm gonna talk about the definition, okay? But more like a structure, talking about elements. We have 5 elements. Then, for me, a tiki cocktail needs that 5 elements. The first one was the sour. Traditionally, the sour was the lime. And on the Beachcomber, when was creating the cocktails, start thinking, why I can't use only lime? If I have other sour elements like grapefruit juice, like orange juice, or I can mix that. I can mix lime with orange. I can mix lime with grapefruit, lime, orange, grapefruit, and create more layers of flavors about sour. Then in the sweet was the same. The traditional was the sugar, but there is other elements. There is agave, there is honey, there is maple syrup. You can infuse syrups with flavors, with fruits, like passion fruit, like grenadine. You can mix grenadine with honey and create more layers of flavor on the sweet. On the strong, the clear definition is what 1 rum can do, 3 rums can. Don the Beachcomber was a master blender. He was blending different rums from different bodies, different raw materials, and creating an exceptional and unique rum for each cocktail. And the people can reproduce that. On the wick, the dilution of the cocktail, it needs, because it helps to balance, to chill. He was using shaved ice. He used a blender also to chill, dilute, and aerate the drink. And also in the wick part, I love to introduce things that works very well on blender, and also use helps to dilute the drink, like pineapple juice or soda, because you put that on the blender and it gives texture to the cocktail. It makes foams, and it's amazing. And the last element for me is the signature on the cocktails of Don the Beachcomber is the spice, the use of pimento tram, falernum, angostura bitters, pernod, great spices over the cocktails. And the spicy note, and it is, for me, it's the signature and very important part on the cocktails of Don the Beachcomber, the exotic cocktails or the tiki cocktails. And if we go to the next slide, we will see another part of the history. As I told you, Don the Beachcomber was influenced by the planter sponge, but Trader Vic was influenced by the cocktails of Don the Beachcomber with reverse engineering, and also was influenced for his trips to the Caribbean, to Cuba, from the daiquiri. He falls in love because of Constante Rivalagua in El Floridita. And then on Trader Vic's pattern, you could find the structure of the daiquiri, a sour, sweet, strong, quick, without the spices. It's more or less the kind of daiquiri cocktails converted in long drinks, for example, the Mai Tai. But we can also find other cocktails with the sour, with the strong, with the spice, that are cocktails influenced from Don the Beachcomber, and you can think that it's reverse engineered cocktails directly from the cocktails of Don the Beachcomber. On Trader Vic's, we could find both patterns. But for me, the most important is the previous, the sour, sweet, strong, weak. Is the point to start about tiki cocktails. If we go to the next slide, we could think about flavors in tiki. The most common flavors that a tiki cocktail has, for sure, the rum. After that, we could find liqueurs, syrups, bitter, citrus, because the citrus is a very important part, as I told you before, the part of sour. Also, we could find different tropical fruits, spices, and other spirits, because Don the Beachcomber used to work always with rum, but Trader Vic incorporate the use of other spirits alone or mix it with rum, because he was smart. He was looking to make business, and if you have in your bar people that are not drinking other spirits and you only are drinking other spirits and you serve only rum, they maybe come once or two, but they didn't come every week. And if you have cocktails with lots of different spirits, you will have more customers that are becoming patrons, coming every week. Okay. Then, talking also about flavors in tiki, if we go to the next slide, we could see the evolution of flavors in tiki. If we come, it's also the same thing explained you with the pictures of Don the Beachcomber, Stephen Crane, and all the people, but in flavors. We can start from the left, from the traditional Caribbean cocktails, where we could find the rum, lime, sugar, and then go to the right. Don the Beachcomber on the 30s, he uses multiple rums, mix of citrus, flavored syrups, spices, and the blender. Then go to Trader Vic's, as I told you, he mixes rum and spirits, and also introduced the orgeat. Orgeat, as I told you, in Don the Beachcomber, the signature ingredient was the spices, and Trader Vic, one of the signature ingredients was the orgeat, a French almond liquor. Then, in the golden era, 50s and 60s, plus added to the previous things, they appear more tropical fruits like tangerines, guavas, lychees, guanabanas, everything because they have more communication for transport and better networks from transport. It also appears the blue curacao. I hate it, but it appears, and it was popular, the blue cocktails, but for me it's... And also the boom of Pina Colada brings the canned coconut cream. And I prefer to have it out of the can in Coco Real format, but I like the coconut cream on cocktails. Then if we go to the 70s, 80s, the decadence, we are talking about low-quality spirits, commercial juices, cheap syrups, and not original recipes. Everything was called a zombie. Whatever was called a zombie. And it has not to be the real recipe. The point of the revival at the end of the 90s, 2000, is recover these original recipes and recover the tiki cocktail as the first craft cocktail and recover all the quality of that original recipes. And if we arrive to nowadays, the modern tiki is creation of modern tiki cocktails and the use of new ingredients. Because now we have new ingredients, nothing is similar to the previous ones, and the things has to change and the things has to adapt a bit, and we are evolving, but respecting the classics. Okay, at this point, I tried to be fast and I situate a bit the people. I suppose that a lot of the people that was here knows everything, but just in case nobody knows some of the concepts, I think it's easy and useful.
It's wonderful.
That's absolutely
yeah, but for example, I saw here Brother Cliff connected. He's the only one I saw. Brother Cliff, Scott French. They know perfectly this, you know, and I don't have to explain them, but I know that.
We have our whole other section. That's the private chat that you're looking at. You have an entire audience on the other side.
Yeah. I know, but it's the only one that I saw here. I didn't show the other people, but they are examples of.
I are seeing you, Oriol, so keep going. You're doing great.
But I know that they love to hear me speaking whatever, you know. That's fine then. Then the next slide for me, it's a topic that now we know what a tiki cocktail is, and now we know the basics. Now let's go to understand how to create tiki cocktails on my way. Okay. I always explain that when I do classes with the bartenders, with students, yeah, just please go to the next slide. When I start talking with people, and I say, okay, let's go to create cocktails. The people go to the bar and start, okay, what you are doing? What are you doing? And it's like, no, we are going to make tests. No, you are not going to make tests inside the bar. If you start making tests inside the bar, you are throwing money to the sink, you know. You need to think. Always you need to think. You need your notebook, and you need to understand what are you going to do. And for example, one starting point is understand what spirit will be the strong on your drink. Okay. And for example, if we go to tiki, now I'm talking more about modern tiki. The most important thing is rum, but we can start making cocktails with the families of whiskey: Scotch, Bourbon, Rye, Islay. We can use family of wines and fortified wines: sherries, vermouth. Okay. We can use gin. We can use vodka. I don't recommend it because for me, a cocktail with vodka don't bring me to a tropical escape. It brings me to a Siberian escape with white bears on it. You know, it's like, it's not very tiki for me, but that's fine. You can do that. You can use liqueurs. You can use agave spirits like tequila and mezcal. You can use North of Europe spirits like aquavit. You can use bitters, amaros. I love to put half an ounce of Angostura bitter inside a cocktail, like in my Jamaican spiced swizzle. I love Angostura. You can use sugarcane spirits like cachaça. You can use brandy, cognac. You can use spirits like pisco, they're very popular, for example, in Latin America. You can do whatever with your cocktail, but you need to have a starting point. For example, if I choose rum, and I go to the next slide, I always think on the basic 7 bottles of rum that you need to have to make the classic tiki cocktails, the 95% of the classics. Yeah, with 7 bottles, you can do everything. It's a starting point, but in modern tiki, you can use overproof pot still white Jamaican, or you can use white agricole that it was not used in classics. But for the classics, the most important are the light and gold Puerto Rican rums, the aged Martinique rums, the gold and dark Jamaican, the Demerara, and the Demerara overproof. These are the 7 more common rums. You can play with the 7 bottles and do whatever you want, okay? And if you want to introduce new styles of rum, modern tiki is open to all that things. Then, once you choose the strong on your drink, in the next slide, we are going to check what kind of cocktail do you want to create. You have lots of options, okay? But the easy thing is to go on 2 ways. I like, for example, the El Diablo cocktail from Trader Vic's. But I want to make changes on it. Okay, the way to create a cocktail is making a twist on an existing tiki drink. Then, for example, take El Diablo and make a twist on it and create another cocktail. And the other option is to create a new one from the structure. Think, okay, I have sour, sweet, strong, weak, and spice, and then I'm going to fill the pattern. Start putting ingredients on everywhere and create a balanced thing. Also, the important thing in the next slide, that's very important for me, it's to use the proper method or technique, okay? For me in Tiki, we have 3 different techniques, 3 different tools to make the cocktails. Of course, if you are making a clarified cocktail, modern cocktail, you can stir that. Yeah, that's fine. But for me, the most important are the 3. The shaker, I always put the double tin Boston shaker because I think it's the best way, because a lot of, if you check a cocktail book about Tiki, lots of the recipes are serve and strain it, serve and strain it. If you have a 3-body shaker, you have to open 3 bodies. You know, it's like all time. If you have a Boston shaker, you open and strain it. You don't need to strain. And for me, it's useful. The blender, you can use, the perfect blender is the spindle blender to make tiki cocktails, because remember, a tiki cocktail is a blended cocktail, but not a frozen cocktail. If you want to go to make a frozen cocktail, you have the typical jar blender, the regular blenders. If you don't have a spindle blender, you can make it on a regular blender, but I always recommend to use the button pulse and control and control and control and make 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. And that's it. It's no more than 10 seconds. And you can control that and make it. But for me, it's good to spindle blender. And also, another amazing tool is the swizzle for tiki cocktails. But here, the problem is when some people, it's amazing to make that picture for Instagram. I always tell it's amazing for Instagram. I take this tiki mug, I put the swizzle in, and I swizzle the cocktail. I put my best face and the picture for Instagram.
Do the face again?
Every single time, what?
Do the face again?
Only for you, Georgie. The thing is that when the people do that, I'm a troll, you know. It's like I'm a cop, and in Tiki, on the page of Facebook Tiki recipes, the people call me cop because I'm. my friend Matt Pietrek understand this joke. I'm the Tiki cop, and when I was checking Instagram on the phone, and I saw, oh, is the smart guy swizzling inside the Tiki cocktail and thinking he's doing something smart? No, man. I always tell, please swizzle inside a highball. Why? Because a swizzle cocktail is a cocktail with a good amount of rum, short on juices, always lime, spices, bitters, some sweet, but not excessive. It's if you have this glass, you have this of cocktail, then you put ice, and then you have to sizzle it, and the glass need to be frozen. If you make a cocktail here, you need to put 3 ounces of lime juice, 4 ounces of pineapple juice. You have to put lots of juices. Then it didn't have sense to swizzle inside a big glass in a big tiki mug. Here, the cocktail will tell you, okay, I need to be blended. And it's as stupid like make on a coupe glass, on a cocktail glass, a cocktail on the blender. It's short drink, shaker. Long drink, blender. Highball, frosty, short, swizzle. Every single drink will tell you, on the air, will whisper you, I need to be shaken, I need to be swizzled, but please, don't swizzle inside Tiki Max. It's the devil. Okay, that's fine, it's a joke. But please, always swizzle inside fireballs. And every single drink will tell you how you have to do that. If we go to the next slide, Georgie, we had a moment with this slide on a Tiki by the Sea, I think in a couple of years ago. Because I'm Spanish. I speak my English with my Spanish accent. Then, if you come with me speaking so fast or speaking with slang, I don't understand nothing. Okay, I say okay, yeah. But the problem is when in a master class I try to explain something and the people don't want to understand what I'm explaining. And I was explaining this slide, and the people was like, "What are you telling? I cannot use lemongrass on my Tiki cocktail." And Georgie, at this point, started helping me because no, guys, he's not telling that. He's telling that it's not too Tiki to do that. Okay, because I think that there is lots of Tiki-related ingredients. But there is other ingredients that are this. Oops, that's not too Tiki, okay? The most important thing on a Tiki cocktail is that it tastes exotic. If at some point you use something and it tastes Mexican, it's not a Tiki cocktail. If it tastes classic, it's not a Tiki. It has to taste exotic.
Exotic, no?
What?
Mexican is quite exotic, I think.
Yeah, depending on the point of view. Yeah, but you can use Mexican ingredients inside a Tiki cocktail and it can taste Tiki, But the thing is the control that you have about what you are doing. You can make cocktails like a monkey with 2 knives in the hands, or you can be smart making a cocktail, And the easy way is go to Tiki-related ingredients. You can use citrus, you can use coffee, allspice, soda, ginger beers, nutmegs, mint. These are flavors related to Tiki. Okay, then not to Tiki flavors. For example, for me, if you infuse a gin with cardamom and lemongrass, for me it's okay. Put me a gin and tonic, not make me a Tiki cocktail. But at the point that you infuse a gin with cardamom, lemongrass, use that on a Tiki cocktail, and the cocktail tastes like a fucking exotic cocktail, you are doing a great job. I put on my hat. It's like fantastic, but at the first point, it doesn't seem too Tiki for me. Also, other stupid not Tiki ingredients, Oreo cookies, marmalades, peas, popcorn, yogurt. I don't know. Also, the people in Spain, sometimes I was a judge of Tiki competitions, and all the people put spicy things inside the cocktail, and the cocktail was so spicy. It's like go to eat to a Mexican restaurant, It's like, man, it's not too Tiki. I explain spices, not spicy. And the people, I don't know why, put lots of spicing. I don't understand. For me, not too Tiki. You can use some spicy hellfire bitters or things like that put a spicy point, but it has to be controlled and it has to play the role. For me, that's an example that, okay, the easy thing is Tiki related, but you can use not too Tiki ingredients, but playing well the game. It's like the final result has to be a exotic cocktail.
It's all about the balance as well, as you said, Oriol. You can use different things, but you gotta balance it. You cannot use spicy and you make it super chili, so you can't drink it. It's all about the flavor that you're adding in there. There's some chili peppers that have got actually got different notes. So, for example, Scotch bonnet has a bit of like fruitiness in there. There's so many things you can do. As you said in the beginning, it's all about the balance.
Yeah, it's balanced and it's exotic. That's it. It's play with that and use whatever you want, but the result has to be exotic. That's fine.
I want to know
Then,
how peas got on the list.
sorry?
How did peas get on this list? Where did you encounter
Pea.
peas in a cocktail?
Some people use pea water, I think,
Oh,
to make foam and strange things. Like, yeah, people make yeah, weird things. For me, it's more. I had when I was working at Tahiti, I had a cocktail called Tahiti Breeze with an ice shell with some dried rose petal in the garnish, and it was too tiki. But here, rose petals for me, it's but in that cocktail works, for example. Then, after ingredients, if we go to the next slide, we are going to play to improve our garnish game. On the garnish game, you can play very different games. You can be classic. For example, that Swizzle cocktail from Smuggler's Cove, it's very, very Donde Discover style. It's a mint sprig, maybe it has some grated nutmeg on the top, and it's very classic and it's very tiki. But you can go to the modern side to go to a cocktail with a lot of garnish, like Lost Lake cocktails or Three Dots and a Dash cocktails. Also, for example, Dirty Dick in Paris are making that kind of garnish with a lot of stuff inside a highball. With you have a paper umbrella, you have two pineapple leaves, we have a slice of pineapple, you have the color straw, you have the orchid, all inside a highball. It's the same cocktail, both are tiki, one more classic, one more modern. It works. Then you can go massive and make that amazing bowl with lots of different stuff, with bananas carved with the face of Moais and yeah, that works. Maybe it's not the best one, but it works. Or for example, I love that cocktail from Three Dots and a Dice. The next one is, for me, it's use all the theater. You have a clam with orchids, you have pineapple leaves, you have umbrella, you have sticks with skulls. You have another tiki mac inside the cocktail with dry ice, putting smoke out. And for me, it's perfect. It's a combination of a lot of stuffs, all the theater inside, and it works very well. But I always tell, please, don't be crappy. Don't go to the 70s, 80s with that amazing coconut umbrella, whatever, pink or red drink. For me, that's the no tiki. You can make the previous four, and all the four are tiki, but please don't be crappy. And also I tell that for me, my in Spain we say mi elemento fetiche, my kitsch element, I could say, it's the paper umbrella. It's the only thing non-natural. Of course, also the plastic swizzles of the bars are also amazing element. But for me, the paper umbrella is respectable. All the other things, feathers, paper parrots, all that crappy things, it's to sell ice creams in the front of the beach. You know, it's like not for tiki cocktails. Only paper umbrellas, nothing else. Okay, please. Then I'm near to finish. If you are scared, I know that Fede was scared when I sent him all the slides. In the next slide, I'm gonna talk about the 6th point. Okay, it's the point of think about. There is different things that you have to think about when you are creating cocktails. The first is different on think on different customer profiles. When I started working at Caribbean Club, for the people that doesn't know it, it's a little bar in Barcelona in the center. It's a bar from the 70s that is like if you enter inside a room inside a boat. It's 16 seats and it's a one-man bar. And I was working the days that the boss are not working on the bar, the boss one who is not on the bar, and he allowed me to have my own tiki menu and do whatever. The only thing that he told me is, okay, you can have a menu with 10 cocktails, but I want 10 cocktails thinking on the door of the bar. And okay, that's fine. And I was thinking, why I have to think on the door of the bar? Why I have to think on the door of the bar? And the next day I asked him, Juanjo, what you want to tell me about the door of the bar? And he told me, it's clear. You will be working on the bar, and you will see the door open and close, open and close. And every single time that the door opens, a different customer will enter. And each customer has a different palate, different profile, and he wants a different cocktail than the others. And you need to have 10 different cocktails for each one of that people. And it's clear, I can make 10 cocktails for my taste, but maybe my taste is not my wife's taste, or it's not Georgie's taste. And you need to have different things and not create only thinking on you. You have to think on other people. The next point is your region palate. For example, in Spain, it's very common that the south of Spain drinks more sweet than the rest of Spain. And for example, Barcelona and the north of Spain drinks more bitter drinks, more sour drinks, stronger drinks. But south of Spain it's very, very sweet. As I was talking with people, I went to go to make a consultancy in Malta. The first thing that I told, what's the palate for the people? And they told me, super sweet. Okay, let's gonna make super sweet cocktails because it's what the people are looking for. Okay. The next point is understand Tiki as something universal and flexible. It means, for example, if the original recipe of the zombie calls for white grapefruit, and in Spain it's not common the white grapefruit, it's common the pink grapefruit, it won't be the same, but it will be similar. Or for example, in Peru, it's easier for them get pisco than brandy or cognac. That's fine. Use that. It won't be the same, but it will be better for you. The problem is when the people say, okay, I don't have orange curacao, but I have blue curacao. Then you are going to kill the Maita if you use blue curacao. No, but maybe you don't have blue curacao, but you have Grand Marnier, or you have how it's called, the Creoles wrap from the West Indies, that it's like a kind of curacao made with an agricole rum base. You can do lots of things with the things that you have near on you, okay? And you don't have to go to import expensive things. You have to look, okay, what I have. Don't the Beachcomber use that brand of Jamaican rum, but I have to look for the bottle and it costs me 500 euros. Okay, use another thing. For example, things that didn't have substitute. Lemon Har, but now you have Plantation FTD, more or less. It's not the same, more or less, because Lemon Har is common in the United States and Canada, but in Europe it's very hard to find. And South America, they don't have overproofs. I always tell to South Americans, okay, if in your country you don't have overproof, you don't have to make zombies, you don't have to make 151 Swizzles, but you have other cocktails from Don the Beachcomber that you can make without using overproof, because it has no sense make a zombie without overproof. But don't make zombies, make the other cocktails that didn't have. And also going on that same point is discover and play the traditions and flavors of your country. On my 2 years ago, I was traveling a couple of times to Peru. And for example, they don't have, in Spain, we have limes and lemons. And for me, lime is green, lemon is yellow. For them, lemon is green, and they don't have limes. And they were a bit confused with that. Oh, the problem, lime, lemon, lime, lemon, lime, lemon. And I arrived to the market and I saw lots of citrus. Maybe they have 14, 15 different kinds of citrus. Amazing citrus. And I told them, okay, use your citrus, explore your citrus, explore your spices, explore your food, your traditional food, and look for your flavors, your fruits. You have tropical fruits that I'm not going to have it in Spain. Or if I have it, it comes from a freezer. And as I told before with Georgie, it's better to use frozen pulps than the fresh fruit. But you have the fresh fruit. And you always have to think what you have around you, your local spirits, your local liquors, your local traditions, and include that on your cocktails. Because the last point is try to create your own signature ingredients. The most important things for a bartender is to create signature ingredients. And it makes the cocktail, for example, I would love that someday the people read a recipe and say, okay, that's from Oriol because he used that ingredient. You know, it's the most important thing for a bartender, create the signature ingredients, and it gives you the traditions and the flavors. And in the next slide, I'm gonna finish because I talk too much. The most important thing is that phrase. Put all your aloha in your cocktails, because as I told you before, the Tiki is not the best cocktail of the world. It's a good cocktail served with a good experience. I always tell that you could be Mr. Whatever, you can have 100K followers on Instagram, you can be a star, but if you have a dog face, the people will remember you, the guy who makes a cocktail with a dog face, you know? You need to create an experience, you need to expand your aloha to the people and make the people enjoy the experience of the tiki cocktail. With this, I'm yours. I think that the connection is better right now. I blocked the Wi-Fi, sticking, and
No,
I'm yours. Georgie, what I have to do? Cocktails or questions? Cocktails or questions?
First of all, I just wanted to say that was great, my friend, and you explained a lot of things that people probably, because people are watching that on live now, and they'll be watching it after. So it'll be good for people to understand really what tiki drink is, and to understand that the most important thing, I guess, is balancing it. Because as you said, and maybe,
Yeah.
as you said, you could find any ingredients. You are in Peru, you are having all these tropical ingredients around you. What you're trying exactly to replicate that recipe that you've seen in a sipping safari. It's impossible to replicate it. It was created nearly 100 years ago. Who knows what exactly was the ingredients? Make it yourself. Make something different. Use it as a base and make something different. But balance it. And this is the key. And you're balancing all the sweet, sour, strong, and weak. And what I've seen in many places, actually, the most that people are failing in is actually on the strong part, because they're trying. You have to understand your spirits. You have to understand your rum. I can see Matt is here watching. Start learning about rum. Start learning about this, because this is the heart of your drink. Just changing one rum for another, or blending three different, it's gonna completely change your recipe. So it's very important.
Georgie, in Spain, I found people serving zombies with Brugal Blanco. Brugal Añejo and Brugal Extra Viejo is the blend for a zombie. It's amazing. I love that Brugal pays you to use his product, but man, it's not a zombie. And also the people.
Make a different drink that is made, that works.
No, but for example, it's stupid to blend the same rum, aged, and long aged. The same rum.
Makes
For
no
me,
sense.
when you blend rums, you blend different. You blend a Martinique with a Jamaica with a Puerto Rico. It makes sense. You make a Demerara with a Martinique. It makes sense. You make, for example, a Rum Bar Gold with a Myers. Both are Jamaican, but it makes sense because of two different Jamaicans. But the problem
you're
is,
blending flavors.
the problem is that people think that tiki is mix lots of rum together. No, if you don't know how to blend rums, use one single rum. Use one for the cocktail, one Puerto Rican, one Jamaican. If you don't know how to do that, go to the easiest part. Don't play to the game that you don't know how to play.
Yeah.
Is that the thing?
It's true, Oriol. And the other thing is that people see Jamaican, Puerto Rican, and Guyanese, but not any of them. You still have to know how they taste like, and you need to experiment and see what's going to work. You cannot just pick one from those countries and go like, oh, I did it like this, what was written in the sipping safari, and didn't work.
Yeah. When you come to Spain with me to FIBAR, to Tiki Experience, the event that I manage, I made a tasking that it was okay. Let's gonna take these rums and taste it blending. For example, if you have, let's go make the blend of the Mai Tai. You taste the Martinique on one side, you taste the dark Jamaican, and then you blend on the same proportion. Taste it. We are going to make the blend of the Three Dots and a Dash. You put 3 parts of this, 1 part of this. Taste it. And it's important that the people place with rum, taste the rum needs, taste the combination. For example, I always tell when I was creating a cocktail called Mexican Maladi, it was a cocktail, I was thinking to use mezcal on it. But for me, I drink half bottle of mezcal, not bad, mixing that with different rums to check what's the best rum for mezcal. And for me was the aged agricole. But in a proportion of 1.5 ounces of aged agricole, half an ounce of mezcal. But because mezcal, more than half an ounce in a cocktail is too invasive. But you have to taste it. You need to play. You can arrive one day and, okay, I'm going to put Puerto Rican rum with mezcal. And no, you have to taste it and taste the proportions and
you're
drink a
so
lot
experimenting,
of
balancing,
Yeah.
and finding out. We are learning all the time. We're talking now and we're teaching, but we are learning every day as we're experimenting and doing. And by the way, Agricole and mezcal works perfect. A good friend of mine that manages my bar, Lucky Kane, is done at Timmy Falzonis. His name is that. His signature drink is Timmy's Tommy's, which is basically Agricole, mezcal, agave, and lime, and it's absolutely amazing.
Do you know which one I love a lot with mezcal? The San Etienne Black Sheriff. I know that you use that in the bar. It works very well with mezcal. It's a good one. Say hi to Timmy from me.
I will do. I'm seeing him tomorrow. We start painting and decorating now the bar, getting ready for one day whenever they're gonna tell us to reopen. I feel like I'm just opening a new bar now. It's been so long that it's crazy. But what can you do? You have to follow the rules. Do we have some questions?
We do. And then are we doing a cocktail today?
Yeah. So I'm gonna put a challenge to Oriol now. So what he's gonna have to do is he's gonna be like a little Napoleon in here. He's gonna have to do two things on the same time. He's gonna be making the cocktail as you're gonna be asking him questions.
Perfect. Do you want to see me ready doing that?
Yes, please.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I have more or less.
Let's go. Voila.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Let's go. I have an amazing Tonga hat zombie glass. I have some amazing Radev Agricole. TSOP in the United States, I think it's called TRSR or something like this, but it's aged one. Okay, you can make me questions if you want. I'm going to put 2 ounces of this rum.
Okay. This one is from John Atkins. Currently, most rum enthusiasts are trying to move away from color references in rum. You mentioned a dark and gold Jamaican rum as essentials to have on hand. Which dark and gold Jamaican rum should he use, as well as aged, high ester, higher or lower ABV?
I lost all the first part of the question, the connection.
You can't do two things on the same time, my friend. That's right.
To paraphrase, a lot of enthusiasts are trying to move away from colors. You mentioned to use dark and gold Jamaican rum. What are your favorite essentials? Do you prefer them aged, higher, lower ABV, etc.?
Okay, I talk with colors. Why? Because I know perfectly that I can talk about old, still aged, but I learned from Jeff Berry books. And for me, it's very easy to talk, to recognize the rums by color, black, dark, white, and gold, and origin, because it's easy for me. When I talk about Jamaican, when I say gold, it's aged Jamaican. Okay, it's aged Jamaican, that will be an Appleton signature. When I talk about dark, I'm going to the more molasses flavor, like could be a Myers, Coruba. But also, if you talk about dark Jamaican, I have, for example, a Hamilton, that it's a pot still color. But about Jamaican ABVs, I like a lot the Smith & Cross as gold Jamaican, for example, that it's 57%. But it's very difficult to get it in Spain. But I know that in the United States you have it. And for me, it's amazing to use that. But take care on the cocktail because it's stronger than a regular, for example, an Appleton signature blend. I don't know if it was the question or not, if I'm going well or not. Yes.
Yeah, you answered it.
For me, the proof is important. But you need to think that the same cocktail, you can make it. For example, I have on my web the Jamaican Spiced Swizzle. You have to know that if you make it in with Appleton signature blend, it will have a taste. If you make it with Rumbar Gold, it will have more pot still taste, pot still Jamaican taste. But if you make it with a Smith and Cross, it will be perfect, but it will have more proof. It will be stronger than with an Appleton. It could affect a bit on the balance, but for me, it doesn't matter because I like the strong cocktails. But maybe for other people, it's
Overpowering.
Okay, I'm gonna continue. 3/4 ounce of lime juice.
Okay.
Fresh squeezed. Fresh squeezed. I squeezed it before.
Fresh squeeze it. I love that. Fresh and squeeze it. Okay.
Squeeze it. It's fine. Banana Royal. 3/4 ounce.
You're
That's a
making
cute
like one of my
man.
favorite drinks.
Seriously, I love that. I could just put it on my ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, next question.
I agree with all of this that's happening right now. Okay. Matt from Minimalist Tiki is here, and he says, what do you think is the best golden era tiki recipe that most people don't know about?
I have two that I love. I have two. One is the Black Magic, and other the Puka Punch.
What's your favorite that is?
Also there is another that it's a secret.
Yeah.
It's very, very secret, and maybe it's not for all the people. It was the Last Rites.
Oh yeah.
The Last Rites from Mariano Licudine is, but it's 3 ounces of agricole rum, and you need to love agricole rums to enjoy that. For that, I had a mixing recipe that it was called the Last Fang. It was a Minimalist Tiki book. It's a mix between the Sidewinder's Fang and the Last Rites. Because I love both, but for me, the Sidewinder's, it's a bit sweet. And the Last Rites, I love it, but it's strong. And then the last one is take the best thing of both, and I fusionate together. I put it together. And for me, most common, the unknown golden era, it was Puka Punch from Tiki, Black Magic from Micah, and also the Last Rites. I love the Last Rites. Then I'm going to put a bar spoon of cinnamon syrup. I'm going to show you that. It's my Tiki Diablo bar spoon. Say hi to my friends from Tiki Diablo.
Okay.
He's going to be with us not next week, the week after, talking about Tiki art. I can't wait for that one.
Danny and Stephanie are amazing.
Yes.
Okay. Question.
Okay. In the world of wine, they are pairing it with everything. Lately, I'm trying to find things to pair with my tiki cocktails. So far, I'm stuck on the horror movie, The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Can you help me find some other things to pair it with? So what are your best suggestions for pairing wine with tiki cocktails?
Wine with tiki cocktails?
That's what he says.
Really? Wine with tiki cocktails?
Yeah, in the world of wine, they are pairing it with everything. Lately, I'm trying to find things to... Oh, I misunderstood. I'm trying to find things to pair with my tiki drink. So far...
Okay.
Tiki drink with Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Okay.
Sorry. The wine comment...
for me, the best pairing with tiki cocktail is a pupu platter. Pupu platter is amazing to pair while you are drinking a cocktail. For me, it's amazing. After that, if you have some tiki cocktails strong on rum, always chocolate. It's an option. Also with rum neat. Also, for example, if you drink some cocktails with white agricole or Jamaican pot still or things like that, you could pair that with kind of seafood, salmon, sushi, poke bowls, things like that. Works very well with white agricoles, with white pot still Jamaican, things like that in cocktails. But I'm more to try pairings with single things with rum, chocolate with rum, caviar with agricole rum, salmon, things like this. But a cocktail, for me, the best experience is go to the Maikai, ask for a pupu platter, and drink a cocktail.
With Thai food as well. We're serving Thai food in Lucky Cane, and because the cocktails are full of flavors in there, and it cuts through really nicely with a little bit of spice and all the flavors that of the Thai cuisine. It works really well.
Pad Thai. I now remember. reminding the pad thai with the cocktails in Lucky Cay, an amazing experience. Okay, 2 dashes of Elemakule Tiki bitters. For me, a dash is like this. Okay, then I'm gonna put a couple of dashes inside. And last ingredient and the secret, I'm gonna leave you for 1 second. I'm going to pick up ice and I will return. 1 second, I'm running to the kitchen.
I think to add to that as well, or to pair with Creatures of the Black Lagoon, I think the sauce is a really good idea as well as so.
Okay, I'm here. I bring some crushed ice.
In a
It's
Tupperware.
important.
Fresh
Okay.
Tupperware ice.
Tupperware, yes, of course. It's my best thing to have the ice in the fridge. Right now in the freezer, sorry. This ingredient, it's coffee tincture, homemade coffee tincture. It's agricole rum 50% infused during 48 hours with ground coffee. And I'm gonna put, that's one of my signature ingredients, 4 drops inside. You can find the recipe of the cocktail and that on my web, freeofstrong.com. You can find how to do that. Then, next question.
I mean, we'll have it too. We can share it as well. Okay, so Michael says, since I'm not working with my top shelf choices with my current budget, can you recommend some good rums on a tight budget?
In which budget? Sorry?
Small.
A small budget, yes, of course. I always tell that the 7 rums that I recommend for the tiki cocktails are in a budget between, I'm talking about Spain, between 15 and 30 euros. But for example, if you are looking for an agricole, for example, this one in Spain costs near 30 euros, the Torrevias VSOP. But if you want to go cheaper, this one is 1 liter. It's not the same because it's a Lexus White, Salambre, and that's aged one. And it's more than 5 years aged, and this is 18 months in a big tun, not in a cask. And the thing is that, but it works, for example, for Mai Tai, for cocktails that call for agricole rum, but it costs 1 liter 15, and that's near 30, 70 CLs. And you have also it's the same that if you look for cold Jamaican, you can go for an Appleton Signature Blend, a Rumbar Gold. If you go to that Jamaican, Myers, also in United States, you could find Coruba, that all the people that I know in United States prefer Coruba than Myers. But also the Merara El Dorado 8, if you want to spend more, buy an El Dorado 12. Puerto Rican,
Even El Dorado 5 is really
you
good.
can use Don Q. Which one?
Even El Dorado 5 is really good.
Yeah, but in Spain we don't find it. We only find El Dorado 8. Okay, I have like this of ice, 3/4. I'm gonna swizzle.
Can you make the face again when you swizzle, please? That on the one side.
Oh my God, it's the best. Oh, I love you so much.
You know that you make that face on me.
It's called smolder. The face that you are making is called smolder in English.
Oh, smolder.
Smolder. That is that face. That's smolder.
Smuggler is like the cove, Smuggler Cove.
No, that's smuggler. Smolder is like
so-
fire. It burns like fire.
But in my Spanish, English, smolder and smuggler is the same.
Oh, that's fine.
I have an experience that because of my Spanish English, the first time that I went to San Francisco, I take a cab with my wife, and we go there. Okay, I'm gonna go to Gulf Street, and I checked that it was 5 minutes by cab from my hotel, and it was like 15 minutes. I told the man. He told me, "Which street you told me? Gulf Street." Oh, you say Gulf? No, I say Gulf. Oh, I think that is other place. Because of my Spanish, they bring me to other place. You know, it's like, it's a pain in the ass, this accent. But I finally arrived to Smiler's Soul, and I'm happy.
3 hours later.
Okay, I'm gonna, yeah, but I don't have to pay the full cab, you know, it's like, okay, let's gonna add more ice. Okay.
Oriol, I love this drink, and the thing is that some people don't realize that when you hear banana and coffee, normally you think like, that shouldn't work together. That is a really good combination.
Mm-hmm.
It plays very well, and also a touch of cinnamon. It's amazing on that.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna put
It's like banana
some
sauce.
grated nutmeg on the top.
Some what?
Grated nutmeg.
Nutmeg. Okay.
Some nutmeg. Okay. I'm gonna put mint, also Tupperware here. I'm gonna put some mint on it. I love to put some different 2 or 3 mint sprigs together to make it more beautiful. I'm gonna put a Luxardo cherry, Amarena. I think here in Spain we call it maraschino cherries, but I know that in the United States, for example, maraschino are the red ones, and these are called Amarena, and then we put an Amarena. And if you want to make it more complex, you can put a chip of banana on the cocktail, banana chip or dried banana. But I didn't have it right now here at home, but I can put on a straw, and I have the cocktail ready. Beautiful.
That's perfect. That looks great. Yeah.
Love that.
Okay. That's
You
awesome.
can put,
Yay.
you can put.
Looks great, man. That looks really good.
Then, okay, let's go with the questions, please.
Okay.
I have a cocktail to drink with you.
English
Cheers, my friend.
English
Cheers,
language
people.
speakers are fortunate to have so many books and websites in the history of rum and tiki published in English. Are there good Spanish language resources for learning about the history of tiki cocktails, or is it more word of mouth? By Corey Schooland.
I don't understand it at all. He's talking
Spanish
about Spanish resources.
Mhm.
Oh, it's difficult. It's very difficult because I started interested in tiki around 11 years ago, and when I started, there is nothing about tiki in Spanish. I only found one blog talking about tiki in Spanish when nobody talks about tiki in Spanish. It was a blog called Bastardo Safrin. And Bastardo Safrin is the blog of my friend Ivan Castro, or later he became my friend. For the people that doesn't know Ivan Castro is a graphic designer, a specialist on calligraphy and lettering. He's the one who designed the logo of Latitude 29 of Jeff Berry Bar. He's the one who designed the typography of the book The Art of Tiki of Sven Kirsten and Otto von Stroheim. He's the one that make the logo of the book Tropical Cocktails. He's working related to tiki, and he's the one that writes about tiki when nobody writes about tiki. But there is not resource about tiki in Spanish. There is no books. There is nothing. For example, my blog 3 of Strong, it's in Spanish and in English. It's both languages, but there is nothing about the Spanish. And if you find something talking about tiki in Spanish, the 80% of time it's wrong. You know, it's the people make totally mess. On these days I was looking online masterclass of people talking in Spanish, and you talk 1 hour 15 minutes, and you say everything wrong about everybody. You talk about Trader Vic's, about Don the Beachcomber, about whatever, everything wrong. And it's like, how people are making masterclass on that way, because the people are listening and the people are trying to learn. And it's very difficult to find information, but if you want to read about this old material, you have the blog Bastardo Safrin, you have the blog Noches de Bora Bora, that also is talking about the Spanish parts. And now I'm collaborating in a project that's called Viva Tiki. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram, Viva Tiki. It's a documentary they are recording now. I think it will be released on 2021 if everything is okay, because now the coronavirus delayed it a bit. It's a documentary about Iberian Polynesian culture. It's all the tiki in Spain and in Portugal, because we have a specific culture and it's different thing. It will be in Spanish and English, and I think it's a good thing. If you follow Viva Tiki, it's a good project. I'm talking too much.
Perfect. No, you're fine.
Next question.
Okay. This one's from YouTube. Brad asked, "What, with the major influence of Chinese / Far East and later in Tiki, why is lemongrass not Tiki?"
Why is lemongrass not Tiki? Maybe it's my fault, because all of people in Spain are using that for infused gins, for stupid things, and to make gin and tonics. And every single time that I think on lemongrass, I think on gin and tonics. And it's like cardamom. For example, black cardamom, it's very smoky, and it could work very well. But green cardamom, for me, it's more used on Indian spice, on that kind of spices that could work well on tiki. But for me, it reminds me of the gin and tonic. And maybe it's my fault, but are ingredients that I don't mentally relate to tiki. Of course, it could work if you work it well, but that maybe it's my fault. For me, it's not. For me, it's gin and tonic.
As well as you said, Oriol, before, is how you use it. It's like if you balance it correct, and this is not the king flavor in there, and you balance it with the rest, and you replicate that escape and that exotic flavor and that explosion rhapsody, like a rum rhapsody in there, then you can make it to be.
Okay. We've got 4 more questions. Emmanuel asked, "When do you think in your plans you will be in Italy for a symposium?"
In Italy, I was on half February. I was in Milan and Venice just before the lockdown. In Italy, I was the day before the lockdown in Italy. I was returning from there, and I don't know when I will return to Italy, but I hope that. I don't think this year, but maybe next year for sure. If I can come this year, but I don't have plans. I don't have nothing, because it was supposed that today I have to be in Miami. You know, it's like right now every single thing is a mess, and I don't know when I could start traveling. For example, today I received an email to go to an event in August to Austria, to Vienna. I have to answer them, but I hope that I could go, but I doesn't know really. I can't go out of my province here. It's not that I can travel to Madrid. No. On Sunday I can't leave Barcelona city. You know, it's like now I can go inside Barcelona, move inside Barcelona province, but it's a strange time. But I hope. Not later than next year, return to Italy. But if I can this year, it would be great. Next question.
Okay. When can we expect a book or film about the incredible history of the Polynesian Hawaiian bars in Espana, in Spain? And is it correct that there were around 300 such bars at one time in Spain?
Okay, I think that they already answered that. I think next year we can expect the documentary Viva Tiki, and maybe a book going with the documentary from my friend Miguel Escobedo and maybe me. And yes, in the 70s we have lots of bars in Barcelona. I think we have more than 15. And every single city of the coast of Spain, you have plenty bars, and it was crazy. Also, the people doesn't know, in the beginning of the 2000, we have 2 trader rigs in Spain, and it was too near in Espana and in Marbella, I think, or Malaga. It was in the south of Spain, 2 trader rigs, and we have a lot of history, and also we have an independent culture. But trust me, it deserves another masterclass different in another day, you know, because it's too many content. But I hope next year, Viva Tiki. Remind this.
We'll do it again next time. It's going to be in Spanish, and you do it with Fede because he speaks Spanish. So we'll probably do something like this. Why not?
And yours.
Okay. Where can we get more Real products in Canada?
In Canada, depending on the part of Canada, as I know, because I live too far, but I was in Canada on past June. If I don't remember, I think yes, June of 2019. I was in Canada. I was in Quebec and Montreal. And if you are in the French part of Canada, it's a big problem because of the labels, because the labels has to be in French and the labels are in English and they are not allowed. I know that in the English part of Canada, they have the product, but in the French part, they didn't have it, and I don't expect, but I don't really know that. Maybe you have to send an email to ABM, American Beverage Marketers, or the web realingredients.com, and they can solve your question. But as I know, they have in the French part of Canada, they have a problem with the labels to bring the product.
Okay. Where do you stand? Matt asked, where do you stand on syrup ratios? Should syrups be 1:1, 2:1, or should every syrup be different?
I don't understand the question, sorry.
So using syrups and cocktails, what is your preferred ratio, or does it vary per syrup?
The first thing, when I saw recipes of people and I saw that they use 3 different syrups, I was scared. Okay. Also, for me, the best thing is to use 1 or 2 maximum. For example, things that works well: 1 fruit, 1 neutral, or 1 fruit, 1 spicy. For example, in this case, I use banana with cinnamon, 1 spicy, 1 fruity. Or, for example, on the Viscomber, use a lot of passion fruit with honey. Honey is more neutral flavor with fruity flavor. 1 proportion. It depends on the cocktail. Here it was 1 bar spoon, 3/4, and the cocktail is balanced. It's on a fruity sweet side, but it's not too strong, and it's spicy, and it's well balanced. But for example, if you make a big tiki mug with 3 ounces of pineapple juice, 2 ounces of lime, if you want to, it was more sweet, more sour, more. It depends on the balance of your drink. The drink will tell you it's too sweet. It's when I used to work cocktails, I write on my notebook, and then I make the cocktail, and I drink the whole cocktail, because one thing is the first sip, and then the other thing is when the cocktail evolves with the dilution, and drink the whole cocktail is understanding the experience of the customer and understanding the drink. Then I drink the cocktail and I take notes. Okay, for me it's too sour. I need to or reduce lime or add sweetener. For me it's too sweet. I have to cut here. But and also the proportion between 2 flavors is what do you want to predominate? Banana or cinnamon? I want banana with a touch of cinnamon. Then it's 3/4, 1 bar spoon. It's to play depending on what you want. Totally depending on what you want and looking for the balance of the cocktail. We are insisting all time on balance, the same thing. And the balance will give you the proportion. And you have to try another time, correct. And that's a game to create.
Cool.
You got to drink them all of them all the time. So you got to drink all the drinks all the time. Try correct, finish the cocktail. So.
Man, think that some days my moment to create the cocktails it's at 11 a.m. and maybe from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'm testing cocktails on Tuesday morning at home, and it could be crazy this moment. Yeah, it's when nobody drinks, I'm drinking.
I mean, nobody.
No, it's never bad. It's.
Invite me next time, please, Oriol.
Do you want that I call you?
Yeah. Next time you experiment, you give me a call. Yeah.
I was going to say, what time is 11 in the U.S.?
Okay, we have. What?
What else?
That's it.
That's it.
Finito.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Oh, the people don't have too many questions. Maybe it's because I'm Spanish, or maybe it's because I talk very clear, or. No, that's fine. That's fine. I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, I enjoyed it. I
We
almost don't want it to be over, but we have to, because I'm sure Fede goes like, "Yay, let's go." But listen, that was absolutely amazing.
Fede was like this.
Yeah,
Fede was
I
like.
really enjoyed it.
Georgie, Jupiter, Fede, whatever you was. It was a pleasure to be here with you, and all the attendees to my speaking, masterclass, whatever you want. It was a pleasure. And thank you for coming, for inviting me. And that's all from Barcelona. I let you.
Do you want to introduce next week what we're having next week?
I can. And of course, you can follow Oriol on social media, Facebook, Instagram, website at 3 of Strong, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Next up, next week we have Miss Eve. She is public relations and marketing of Trader Vic's worldwide. She is also the granddaughter of Trader Vic, which is pretty fascinating. She's a beautiful woman, and she's absolutely blessed to have. So we're very, very excited and very honored to have her on the show as well. As always, we thank you for joining us and hope everybody is staying safe. I know that the U.S. is a little crazy right now, so we will definitely, yes, be very careful. But thank you again, Oriol, for joining us. As always, it is
my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
I will see you next week, my friend.
See you next week.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching.
Bye, guys. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.
Next week. Stay tropical.